whake i tātātai hui kia huia.
Tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou, ka tēnā tātou, i koutou tātou, e taunei ki rungia tātou katoa tuairu o ngā mātua tupuna, ngā rātou whakatokota te nā kau ki ngā tikanga hea rataki, ia tātou tēnā kaunui ki te hapare tātou mai katoa, roto te pono, te teka e te whānutanga, e te paroha, anō ki titi, te ronga whakiri ake ki runga, haumi e hui e.
Te ariki,
Tihei mauriora ki te whai au ki te ā-Marama e noho nei tātou. E tuake anau i aru ngā taumata timatanga kōrero ko te wehi ki a ihoa. Te atua i tohungia e te kingi tuatahi, e atua mō tātou, ngā uri. Tēnei rā tātou, e whakakroria nei, tāna ingoa tapu, o anu manakitanga katoa, i uhia mai rā ki runga ki tēnā o tātou e pai nei i roto i tō tātou whare, i tēnei ahi tonu, ki runga i tō tātou kingi tūheitea po tō tau te wherawhera o te tuāwhitu, i whakapūmautia e o tātou mātua tūpuna ki runga o hauruara i te wai a rātou. Pai mārire ki tō tātou kingi, whakahonoretia tō tātou kingi. Tēnei a ngā kau e tangi atu ana, ki o tātou mate, ngā mate o te marama, o te wiki, o na nahi rā, pai no mai ki tēnei rā. Ngā mate i tangi hea e kūtau, i o tātou marae, i o tātou hapu, i o tātou whānau, me ki nā tātou itanga. So ngā mate i tangi hea i roto i tēnei o ngā whare, i rungi i tēnei o ngā marae, me ki nā tātou itanga. Me ki ana te kōrero, ko te pauaru nui o te moti ko tō tātou kingi. E waha nei, ngā mate o te wā. Nō reira ko o kūtau mate, ko mātou mate o konei, ko tūhonotia, ko hui, rātou katoa, kia tukua, e tātou te mahuetanga iho. Kia haere rātou, ki runga i te huarahi, i haere atu ai a tāwhaki nui o te rangi. Te huarahi, i haere atu ai o tātou mātua, o tātou tupuna. Nō reira, e ngā mate, haere kūtau, haere kūtau, haere kūtau. Āpiti hono tātai hono, ko rātou kia rātou. Āpiti hono tātai hono, ko tātou te kanohi ora i o tātou mātua, i o tātou tupuna i te rangi nei, te nāhui tātou. Te nāhui tātou i runga i te reo karanga o te tupuna o hotu. Te nāhui tātou i runga i te reo karanga o Ngāti Huia, o Ngāti Pēhi, e mihi ake nei kia tātou mania poto. O tae mai i runga i te reo karanga o te rā. Aha ko te nui, o ngā kaupapa kei roto i a kūtai, kei roto i a tātou o tae mai, ki te whakarongo, ki te rongo i ngā kōrero o te wā. Nō reira haere hui a maira. Hui a maira, kia kotahi ai tātou, kia mau tonu ai ki te kōrero i waihotia mai e tātou tō tātou tupuna, e mani a poto. Kia mau tonu ki tēnā, kia mau ki te Kauae Marae, whanake ake. A kāti, kua tupuna mai tēnei wahanga ki au, kia mihi a tātou. Kia mihi a tātou e pai nei, kia mihi a tātou ngā aka whapau, e titiro mai nā, e mātakitaki mai nā i ngā hau e whao te motu, i ngā tōpito e whao te a. Mani a poto kei ki tai, hono arorangi mai rā ki te iwi e nohone. Ki o koutou huanga, ki o koutou pakeke, kuia karaua, kaumātua, ai noho nei ki te kāinga. Ko ngā manaakitanga ki rungi a koutou ngā aka whawhau, a karangatanga maha o ngā hapu e wha, maha o te rohe, o te iwi o mani a poto, tēnā koutou. E kui mā e koroma, koutou e noho mai nā, e arataki nei a mātou i roto i tēnei o ngā mahi tēnei te mihi ake kia koutou. Koutou kua tae mai, tātou e noho nei, tēnā koutou, kia ora hui tātou katoa.
E huri te aro ki tumu e
Ngā tira hana ki rā, waho te rangi te mā, hore te kāraraha nui mana. Mea whakatā ki te rohe o te kauae, hangai a te whare raka e te re. Ki ai te kōrero e, ko pukero a te urunga tapu i hanga tiki hei tohu i te mate mai ho. Hui a te tangata te matua o tūirirangi ngā kuraho te pai noho ia. E te kawa irirangi haurua te puna o te rai mata. Tō te whero urupare ki te iwi pato o te rā ki a haue. Ora huri noi tō tātou whare e tū ake nei. Te kauae o nuti rene e mihi ake nei. Hanga tiki e takoto ake nei. Tēnā koutou, kia ora hui tātou katoa. Ta huri te rākau ki tō mātou karangamaha, kia tuku, māna e whakamārama i ngā tikana a whare. Kia ora tātou.
Kia ora e te whānau, ko tāku hei kōrero mō ngā ritenga o te marae nei. He marae auahi kore, no reira ki te hiahia kautai te momi paipa, heke ki runga i te puke puta atu ki te kēti hui ai. Kāti he wahanga kei muri i te marae, ki muri i te whare mō aua hui hoki. Mō ngā whare iti, ki tēnei taha o te Kauae Nutirini, ko te wahanga tata ki te whare, he wahanga mō ngā wahine, te wahanga kei tērā taha o te whare, he wahanga mō ngā tāne. Hea atu. Kaua e kai, kaua e inu, ki roto i te whare, ki te hiahia kai, puta atu i tēnei whare, kuhuna ai ki roto i te whare kai. Kia ora.
Tēnā koe tuhere tēnei wā, ka tuku te wahanga ki tō tātou te amana. Kia pira.
Kia ora no tātou, tēnā tātou ko tau nei, i roto i te aru tanu o te wā. Tēnā koe e taku tuakana e huia, i tuku whaka tētā ki te atu i ruarau. Me koe hoki taku rangatira tahi, me te lihi, te whakatau i Wairanui a tātou i tēnei rā. So everybody, you want me to use the mic?
We're using the mic so that if anybody is watching it online, they can hear what we're saying. So if you want to come up here later on and ask a question or thank me, come and use the mic. Look, the idea of a hui ā-Iwi, and thank you very much for coming. I know you've got other things to do. the idea of a hui ā-Iwi is to give people a chance to come and hear what progress, what work we're doing at the Te Nehenehenui Trust, and give people a chance to ask questions or get explanations. And I guess the best part about this one, Sam, is that you'll get the news before other people do, if it's good or if it's bad. You know, we have a hui ā-tau. I think that, when's that, September? We're going to have one of those in September. You know, there's a certain formality in a hui ā-tau. You've got to get through your financial reports. You've got to give the chairman's report, the manager's report, and then you've got a number of decisions you've got to make who the auditor's going to be. It doesn't give you as much opportunity to have the sort of questioning, the kōrero that you might get in one of these hui. So the idea of this is that we're going to just go through what our work program's been over the last few months, the things that we're trying to work on, trying to get done in the next few months, and give you a chance to, grill's not the right word, it's more like question and find out from the trustees or from the staff here. So I'd like to introduce the trustees that we've got here today. I'm Peter Douglas. I come from Pōhatuiri and Toki Kapu Marae in Waitomo. I spent a bit of time here. My wife is a koroheke from this marae, and we got married here in 1987. So in those days there was no whare nui, and there was a much smaller dining room in those days, and was a wonderful day. Thank you very much. So I'll just go around and introduce our trustees first. So Gannon, you're at the front. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Kia ora tātou, ko Gannon Sui Takumiwa, no Tēkui Tipa, Ngāti Rora, me hea kia katoa.
Fire.
Kia ora tātou, ko Mio Takumiwa, ko mō kātina.
Shannon.
Kia ora tātou, Shannon Manawati, Takumiwa, Ngāti Rora, Tēkui Tipa.
John.
Kia ora tātou, my name is John Kahi. I live out at Kawhi Pus. My marae is Rakami and Tukotaitanga. And I agree with what Peter said. So kia kaha, everybody.
Mary.
Kia ora koutou, ko Mio Takumiwa, whare ki riri ahu mono piripa. Kia ora.
Luke.
Kia ora katoa, Luke Moss toko ingoa, Ngāti Rora.
Rachel.
Kia ora tātou, ko Rachel Te whānau tōku ingoa.
Ronnie, we're just introducing ourselves, and the last one's going to sing a song.
Kia ora tātou, Ronald Tākanei, Karehara o Nikita. I represent Marakupu Marae.
Thank you, Ronnie. We've got a few other people here today, but I'll let Sam introduce those ones. I'll start with these. You know, we've got a couple of subsidiary entities that work inside the Nehenehenui, what's the right word, system. We've got an asset holding company called Te Ahuahu. Recently we recruited 2 new directors to go onto that board, and so those 2 new directors were Dean Nikora, who's from Kapatuhi, and Nanaia Mahuta. Nanaia is here today. Nanaia, you want to say anything? There's a microphone right there.
Pleased to join the team today. Kia ora, Nanaia Mahuta. We've had 2 meetings since we've started, and we're looking forward to making a contribution on behalf of Dean and I.
Thank you, Nanaia. We also got Hohepa Rauputu, who's been serving on the fishing company for several years, and we got Dave Letele to join the Waihukurangi board, and he joined up with Paula Baker, who's already been serving on that board. And that board, the changes that have been made in the last 12 months is that Rachel Te Whānau is going to be is the chair of that board these days. Paula Baker's got a background in the delivery of health services. She's very she's very pleased to be part of our. I think she's not a Māori, but she loves working with our the Waihukurangi, so we're lucky to have her. And Dave Latelli, if you don't know who Dave is, his whānau are the Emerys. He used to be known as the Brown Butterbean, and he was involved in sort of celebrity fighting, and also he's done a lot of work in Auckland in some of the more, in the communities that are struggling more, and he's mostly known for helping people lose weight and extend their lives. You know, we had a bit of a discussion at one of our meetings, and people were saying, you know, certain ones have said, you know, what's he doing on one of our boards? He doesn't have much to do with us. He doesn't come to our marae and things like that. And what I said was, you know, Dave Latelli is in the business of saving people's lives. So he's had people who've lost 100 kilos or something, and he's extended their lives by 20 years. He's been involved in more than that. You know, he runs food banks, and he's one of the most sort of vigorous sort of people I've ever come across. You know, like he's got a very short attention span. He's having ideas all the time. So I think we're really lucky to have somebody like that come and join us in our efforts and in our work. We've also got an intern trustee. The idea of that was we were going to get a rangatahi trustee to come in, see how we work, probably correct us, given what Tyler Pucky's experiences, and she's here today. So Tyler, would you like to just introduce yourself?
Kia ora tātou, ko Tyler Paki te hui a tōku ingoa, he reo no mangatoto me mō titi pā. Yeah, I'm an intern trustee for this year. It's a 1-year appointment. In my mahi, I am a lawyer at Kāhui Legal, and I've been there for 6 years. Looking forward to working with the board. Kia ora.
Thanks, Tyler. And I just glanced over here and I saw my tuahine, Bella. Bella, sorry for leaving you out. Would you mind introducing yourself?
Tēnā tātou katoa. Ko Bella Takiari Brahim tōku ingoa. E te tau tōku pāpā no Manioroa, me rā kaunui marae. E te tau tōku whaia no te kuiti pā. Tēnā koutou.
Imagine if I hadn't caught that ball. Thank you very much for reminding me, Sam. So those are our most recent governance appointments. I'm not going to go and try and fake it by talking for any longer. I'm going to turn it over to Sam and his team to give us a rundown. But please, we're expecting you to ask questions and things like that, so don't be shy about that. I know I don't really need to say that. I'm really pleased to see a number of our queers and aunties come along today. Thank you very much. I know you've got other things to do, but tēnā koutou katoa.
I guess we're going to do tūturu. Kia ora tātou te whānau, tēnei te mihi ki a koe pā, me te whakatūwhera tā tātou. Hui, I te ahi nei, I'm going to pakaru this, so I'm going to just kind of, kapai. Here comes we keep him in the back, just here at the Kauae. He actually lives out there too, as part of the settlement. So kia ora whānau, what we're going to do today is we take the opportunity to give updates as to where we've gone so far. I know, and hopefully people aren't getting a little over the repetitive nature of our desire to ensure we're always communicating, but we come here just to give the updates of where things are going. So we're going to start from the very beginning, our kaupapa around Te Kauae Marae. We've been consistent in our approach after we did our kind of hiding around the motu, coming back with the kaupapa that we have. Our focus is on punga, which is our 5-year component, the first phase of Te Kauae Marae, and that's predominantly where we've been focused. You're not going to hear too much in terms of what I've been up to, because I want to spend more time having Wayne and Tukutuku come up and talk to Ahuahu and Waihukurangi. And then I want to give you some assurances about what we've been doing as a kaimahi out there for the iwi. So But just as a quick update, if you're not familiar, Punga is the 5-year phase, Tumutumu is the payout that goes out to 2037, and then Kawe Rukuro is the final component of our strategy. We're starting with Punga because that's the part where we're really sinking our teeth into, and you're going to hear today that's a lot of our focus on our mahi. And a big thank you once again. So we always kind of give her props, but Ari Ohuia, our graphic designer, she's definitely been a godsend for helping us make ourselves look like we know what we're talking about. So the picture sets a certain standard of work, and we have to keep up to it now. So we've got Waihikurangi Trust coming up and Ahuahu. They're going to talk to where they're at, and just so we're aware, whānau, and if you know the story, then that's fine. Sorry if I'm telling you something you already know, but Waihikurangi is our charitable and social trust, which is there to develop and deploy programs within the community and abroad, and to ensure that we're touching the lives of the iwi members. Ahuahu's focus is on delivering economic prosperity for the iwi. So that's around direct investment and opportunities within infrastructure and development. So they'll come up and talk to that shortly. So just diving into where the operations is at. We've kind of been busy. It's been a lot on in the last 3 months, but we're just reflecting on events that we've come through. We've had the 160th commemoration for Rako. The first reading has gone down now. After the first reading, we've also had the Orako dinner, which was set up. And I raise all of these because this is where you always see our team, we're all about and involved in. And there's members that are showing up on weekends and nights and, you know, pulling some reasonable hours to make sure that we can pull these programs off. We had Te Arao Tūrongo that was back earlier in last year, National Iwi Chairs Forum, so we hosted one and we've gone to a second one now. We signed off on the joint management agreements between Waitomo, Waikato District Council, Otarahanga, Waipa and the Waikato Regional Council, and we got a lot of support from our trustees who sit on there. There are 5 trustees that represent us on that group, and they're doing a fantastic job as we push the councils to make sure that they understand that we're all trying to work together with one direction. And it was a great experience the last hui we had. We talked to them about them working within the rohe o Maniapoto versus Maniapoto working within their rohe. So it was just a little bit of a little shift of the mentality just to let them know, like, we're here to do this together. A rising tide raises all ships, and that's the whole purpose of the JMA. We've also been working on some stuff that I'm not going to steal Tuku's thunder, so I'll let her cover that over in a little bit. Other than that, we've had the RMA training piece out there. We've had, that's a Tuku one, I won't go there either. There's a piece there I will talk to later on there around the Rangatahi project, and we've got the opportunity to have our Rangatahi come up and talk to you about the project and the next steps as well. As far as a lot of these things, we're building plans around hauora, working closely with the Ministry of Health and Te Whatu Ora. It's going really well. We have really good relationships with the Crown, even though there are some natural tensions out there. We're still very focused on what we need to do for our people. When it comes to our components around mātauranga, we spent last couple of months working with there's an education group there and also the Ministry of Education. So we've been working with both groups in order to ensure we've got clarity of pathway for our people from babies all the way through to graduating, coming out, whether it be to go into vocational or tertiary focuses. And we'll talk a lot more about that at the Hui Ato, so hold this space because we'll make a few announcements coming up in the next few months that'll be just highlighting how far we've managed to progress our strategy. And the other one we wanted to kind of make aware of today, and I'll probably spend a little bit of time just chatting about it, is in the Akanui Kaupapa, that's around bringing our people back together. So we've had the tribal register for some time now, and it's been in its phase 1 piece. What we're looking now at phase 2 is we're actually delivering a piece where it'll be, you can manage your own information online. So we're moving away from it being a piece where you fill out a form and it goes into a system to a piece where now, as an iwi, you can dial in to see what you've been up to. You can get email from your whare, from your marae. We don't share the information out on your personal information, but you can update your phone, your email address. There'll be a nice online system for you to log into. You'll each be given one, and we're working with a company that'll deliver that. So that project has been underway now and we've been keeping people updated, but it's the next phase of our tribal registration, and it's also going to have a grants and distributions component. So when you apply for grants, you'll be able to click on the form, fill it out online and send it through, and we'll be able to action that a lot quicker. So we're going to do a little bit of a show and tell of that, and that's being managed by our CFO. She's been doing a great job working with her team, making sure we can deliver that. And the other piece you might notice today is that we've got our grants and distributions team down here who will be taking any registrations for any iwi members that haven't signed up yet. So just another plug. And for all those online, if you want, you can go on tenehenehenui.co.nz or .iwi.nz and sign up. There's the registration forms there as well. I think in the last 3 months, we've seen an increase in registrations going through the roof. So it's been quite interesting. And the data is the key piece. The cleaner it is, the better we can communicate out to the iwi. As far as whānake goes, that really is about a piece I'll leave with Bully to come up, and he can talk to that. So anyway, whānau, lots of work has been going on in the background. We're going to show a couple of slides later on to show some of the mahi that the team have been up to. But for now, I'll hand it over to our GM of Ahuahu.
Kei taku iwi, mania poto, a tēnā tātou katoa. Aku kuia, aku kaumātua, pai marere ki a tātou katoa. Wai pāna poto ku ingoa, Poli. E tuku mihi atu nei ki a koutou. Te whakātu nei i ngā mahi, i tēnei wahango te tau, ki tō tātou nei kamupene o ahuahu. Nō reira, e mihi ana ki a koutou. So in this period since we last caught up with each other in Maniaro, the work that we've been focusing on within our 4 strategic areas, as noted across the top there, in regards to strategic priority, where we focus on building our foundations. So in that area there in particular, as our chair has already talked to briefly, we've had our 3 new directors start. So there's been a period of induction with our new directors, bringing them up to speed with things like Te Kauae Marae, as it specifically relates to Auau, what the 5-year plan looks like for Auau, and then some of those key strategic documents, such as our investment strategy framework, such as our key budget assumptions for the upcoming year, as well as some of the more compliance-related stuff. For those that have participated already in Pātaka Kai, it's been a place of getting going, but also looking to find enhancements to make the access to the Pātaka Kai more streamlined and more efficient. So there's been a focus on that over this last quarter. As I've mentioned briefly, those compliance pieces, such as budgets, such as annual plans, it's a must-do. We need to do them well. We need to do them on time. They need to be well understood, and they need to be able to be presented back to our parent board so that overall the parent board, Te Nehenehenui, know the plan as we demonstrate it as it relates to our 5-year plan. In that space, just want to acknowledge our group CFO, Jamie Cleve, and her team for assisting Auau to get us through and to meet our compliance requirements in that space. As we work through the space of building our foundations, to have good guidance, good parameters, to ensure that we stay aligned, to ensure that we can reflect and give effect to Te Kauae Marae in the punga phase, through to the tumutumu phase, and then ultimately into Te Kauae Marae phase, we need to have frameworks. We need to ensure that they reflect our key values, our mātāpono, our uara, and those key deliverables, as has been set out in the flight paths that are available for all of us to read. So we've been working on in that area. As Sam mentioned, property and infrastructure is a key area of investment that we are looking to consider. You have to have good strategies, again, that talk to what does property investment look like, what does infrastructure investment look like for Maniapoto, for Te Nehenehenui. So we've started looking at our strategy in that area. We have talked with those that have already gone down their path of learning, that path of investigation, that path of executing on property strategies. So the likes of Ngaitahu, the likes of Tainui Group Holdings, the likes of Ngāti Whātua have been conversations and learnings that we have been partaking in as we work through that initial drafting of that particular strategy document. We've talked about our new governors that have come on board. Our governors need to have training plans for them to enable them to do their role as directors of Ahuahu. So there's been a focus on what does a training plan look like for our particular governors in the area of commercial activity over the next 12, 24 months. And then, as I've touched on, compliance as it relates to then the audit requirements that we as Ahuahu have to adhere to as part of the fiduciary duties of a company that is required under our constitutional document of Ahuahu. So we can't, again, like annual accounts, get away from that, and attached to that, obviously, is then the external audit requirements. So we'll hear from our auditors at our hui ā-tau, who will talk to the work that the auditors have done, and that will be led by our Group CFO, Jamie Cleave. Coming through to Strategic Priority 2, we've touched on in previous hui ā-Iwi, the key assets that we have right now, they're settlement assets. They came with previous settlements like the fishery settlements. They came with our Te Nehenehenui settlement in regards to the land that China Forestry Group have their trees growing on, which were part of a Crown lease arrangement prior to that asset coming back to us. So those are the assets that we have received through those settlement processes, and they are the areas which I'm responsible for ensuring that as part of our role in leasing our assets to the two fisheries companies that we are a part owner of, along with the other iwi, that they're doing a good job for us, and that our interests in those assets that they manage on our behalf have our best intentions at mind. So in the fishery space, we go to things like the Moana and Sea Lords AGM and participate in those hui. We go to the Sea Lords AGMs as well as their quarterly updates and participate in those hui. Why? Because we want to understand that the investment decisions they're making on our behalf are in our best interests, and where we have the ability to give our input from Te Nehenehenui, from Maniapoto for those asset classes, we can do that. In regards to the rental agreement there, where it talks to CFG-NZ, that is China Forestry Group, New Zealand. We have the ability every 3 years now to renegotiate that rental agreement that we now have directly with China Forestry Group, and we've just finished the latest 3-year review. Quite quickly that'll come around again, so we have to start thinking about what are the key, I suppose, macro as well as internal dynamics that could be influencing the price of that rental agreement. So again, it's about ensuring that we stay close to China Forestry Group in our relationship as they start also to harvest their trees of our land, that we are in the conversations around their harvest plans, how that could look and could potentially impact the environment as it relates to the roading, but also, and I think it was one of our whaia at the last hui ā-Iwi, we talked about the impact on native fauna and flora which are in and around where those Pinus radiata stands are. So those are the conversations we can have now, because we as the landowner have that ability directly into China Forestry Group. And we have started that, and we are doing that through the forestry management entity that China Forestry Group use for our Pirongia block, Tawaro block, Manga Okiwa. And then finally there, just in regards to the forestry stewardship standard, it has its own compliance audit. We get to participate in that process. It isn't an audit of us, it's an audit of the forestry management companies and their practices, and how well are they engaging with us as the landowner as they undertake their duties on behalf of the tree owner. So we get to participate in that audit, which has just happened in the last month. Coming across to procurement and partnerships, small in terms of the bullet points, we only have 2 there to talk to. There is currently 2 engagements that are in train at the moment with Maniapoto entities. Can't share a lot of the detail at this stage other than kōrero has started, as there is something, I suppose, more significant to bring to the iwi, and hopefully by hui ā-tau we will be in that place to talk to to the work that is happening in that space within those engagements, we can do that. In the Crown space and in relation to the Crown entities that sit within our region, the key conversations that we're having right now was with MB, or the Ministry of Business and Innovation Enterprise, Kāinga Ora, Kiwi Rail, Waipa Networks, and then the last one there is the Energy Commission. And it's all related to investment opportunities and or assets or opportunities for āuau to participate as it relates to things like energy, as it relates to things like housing, as it relates to assets that currently are held with those entities, which we want to have a conversation about for commercial purposes. So that's a kind of an overview there. And then the last segment, which is full on the page, is probably where the bulk of my focus has been in this last quarter. So we have now completed āuau its commercial review of the deferred settlement properties. And in particular, we identified 39 properties, which we then decided we'd have a more detailed look at in terms of 5 schools, 2 farms, 1 courthouse, and 1 police station. After that review and then the analysis through to a decision paper up to the board, it was decided by āuau that we wouldn't look to invest and purchase or I suppose start the deferred settlement process with the Crown for those particular assets. The detail of the analysis talked to the type of asset and for the role of āuau. From an investment point of view, the decision from the board was not appropriate for us in terms of our role as it relates to investment. The other piece of work we've been carrying out is building and applying our investment analysis tool. So again, there is a lot of opportunity that is coming to iwi, that is coming into our space at āuau to consider. Again, just like we're doing through strategy frameworks, we need to have good tools. So we are in the process of developing our tools to allow us to have a way of viewing those investment opportunities so that as part of what's required under our direct investment sub-policy, which is a sub-policy of our overall strategic investment document, we can say we are āuau are demonstrating the tools and what is required to put in front of our directors for them to consider and make a decision from, which then if it leads to a requirement to go back up to our parent board, we can do that via presenting it first to our group investment committee, as is required by the investment strategy compliance requirements. So we're building those at the moment. Considering two investments within region is again is linked to the partnerships and procurement piece up there. As I say, hopefully we can be in a position to present more of that detail by the time we get to hui ātou. So that is a linking back through to the procurement and partnership comment up the front there. We met with Tainui Group Holdings. We had a really good meeting probably over a month ago now with the Tainui Group Holdings commercial team led by the CE, Chris Joplin, and his team of property and infrastructure. And then after presenting each other's commercial strategies, firstly from Tainui Group Holdings and then through to āuau, we then were taken on a tour of Ruakura, taken over to the internal containerised site to talk about a little bit about that and just understand more of the journey that Tainui Group Holdings had been on to that point in time. So that was a really awesome hui. And a lot of positive kōrero about sharing knowledge and looking to consider opportunities for co-investment into the future. And then the last part there is, so direct investment opportunities, like I say, there's a lot happening. There's a lot of deal flow. It's a very active space at the moment. So right now there are 2 or 3 direct investment opportunities that we are analysing. The PE fund space, which is private equity, which is a space that, and I always use the term, the armoury. We have as āuau the conditions, the settings to be able to consider assets that are in a higher return bracket, and yes, they come with higher risk. And private equity would be, I suppose, a description of an asset type that would fit that type of description. So there are a couple of opportunities right now that are sitting in front of Auhau to consider, and we're working our way through a due diligence process on those in particular. And then the final piece there is when you're a small team and you're trying to be smart about how best to place your energies and your efforts, you look for your mates. You look for those that have expertise, you look for those who have experience, and you find your way to connect to those. In Te Ao Māori, no one does it better than us in terms of finding our hōhaere, those that can tautoko and support. And the Tōtara Iwi Investment Committee Collective is one of those groups that we have connected ourselves to. They're a combination of Māori corporations, land trusts, and post-settlement entities like ourselves that have a desire and an aspiration to invest collectively and pull together resources and expertise. Why? Because I suppose kotahitanga, whanaungatanga is important, but also there are those of us that have been on the investment journey a bit longer that we can learn on. There are those that are in particular areas of expertise that we can learn from and can guide us. And there are those that just are really keen to co-invest, to be able to show mana motuhake, to be able to show that we are looking to manage risk through collective opportunities that are before us. So e te iwi, tēnei te whakarāpopototango o ngā mahi, o tō tātou nei kamupene o ahuahu, e raro iho tō tātou nei iwi o Te Nehenehenui. Nō reira, kia ora tātou. Okay. Because we've got to get to tuku next. But I just wanted to hit a couple of questions as we were coming through. We did get a pātai about horizons as well. We are doing a joint management agreement with our southern councils as well. So Taranaki Regional Council, Horizons, they've all been in connection with us. So we've got our settlement protection manager, that's Tremaine Murray, who's doing a great job there looking after us. But we have that hui actually tomorrow. So all these things are going really well in that space. So to the person, Arthur, put the pātai out there, thank you very much for that. The other one I just wanted to touch base on is Wayne spoke about the DSPs. Just from that perspective, the way we looked at the DSPs was they're an opportunity to ensure that the iwi can maintain them within the iwi. So our entities like Ahuahu, we're looking at them, Waihukurangi is going to take a look at them, and then once we have that sorted, Te Nehenehenui will reach out to iwi katoa based on where those DSP properties are and remaining, and we'll come out to you with a process with how we wish to try to make them available to anybody, any land trust or entity that wishes to pick those properties up because they have more significant meaning to us than they would to your persons outside of the iwi of Maniapoto. So stay tuned, whānau. We'll have more information about that in September coming up. So the hui ata will be packed full of lots of interesting kōrero. But anyway, speaking of interesting people, we'll bring up our GM of Waihukurangi.
Kia rau noa te whare, ko tuku tūnua hau noko nei, no tēnei whenua. So at Waihukurangi Trust of the past quarter, it's been really, really busy. And I acknowledge actually our team, because our team are the ones that have been working in the magic in Rohe and out of Rohe. But just for our whānau online, this is a snapshot of the mahi over the past quarter. And you'll see that we have placed bullet points under each pou. But what I want you to know is just because those bullet points are under each of those pou does not mean that they are isolated just to those key priority areas. And I'm going to give you an example. So I'll pick one. We'll go with oranga taiao, oranga tangata. So this is a project or an initiative that involves giving effect to ngā wai o Maniapoto, and working with whānau to build their capability and their capacity to understand the Resource Management Act. What it also does is what we also know is there are opportunities to work with our people to understand and explore how we can heal ourselves. So when we heal our whenua, we heal ourselves. And also relative to or relates to akanui, so connecting, there are outcomes there to connect with one another. So what I'm trying to get at is that the programs and initiatives that we have and that we deliver provide outcomes across all pou in Te Kauae Kurua. In terms of our mahi, it's a mix of planning and delivery. We have just brought into the whare 2 new staff members who are working on plans, or developing work plans with partners to provide programs and initiatives and support to whānau that live in our rohe and outside of rohe. So that's hauora. As well as on the delivery front, we have been working with hatohone to provide first aid workshops and psychological workshops in our rohe and outside of the rohe. So we've done one already in Auckland. Our team was also in Christchurch working with our uri living in these locations. And we can expect also one to be delivered soon in Te Kuiti. Our te reo irirangi o Maniapoto, so on air and online presence continues to build. So I want to acknowledge Te Aroa and Tia for blessing our radio frequencies with your reo. As well as our team who have been out and about supporting at a number of events. So this includes an event just held last week at the museum here in Rohe. We were at Orako 160, and there's another one that I really wanted to talk about for MFM. At the Kiwi House. So at Otoranga Kiwi House, they opened one of the 7 zones, and Te Reo Irirangi o Maniapoto was there too. From Marae Solar Initiative, we've talked about this over the several hui ā-Iwi, so acknowledging, is that my cue to hop off, Sam? So I want to acknowledge Atari Wanga as well as Mānia Roa Marae for the mahi that we've done in that space. Relative to, at the last hui ā-Iwi, I talked about a Marae Resilience Program that has been underway for the past year. So we have completed 22 Marae solar assessments, working with Marae. 37 of our Marae have engaged in that program. We've provided commercial first aid kits to our Marae, fitted them out with AEDs and defibrillators, as well as providing training for our whānau living around the Marae on how to use these kits. And supporting our whānau with plans on how to look after ourselves in the case of an emergency. From a skills and employment pathways perspective, so Wayne talked about deal flow. He talked about opportunities that are possibly coming on board over the next 6 months. So wahikurangi, our role here is to work alongside ahuahu and identify employment pathways for our whānau to either be part of that deal flow or to provide skill sets, some advice on how to be part of those projects. From a professional learning and development point of view, so we've got, one of our kaiwhakahaere, Kristen, has been working with Doug's team on providing professional learning, development and capability for our teachers currently in Kura. And you will see that our team also will be providing kuratahi online and in person, which is really, really choice. I think that's it for now. Kia ora. And this is my favourite slide. This is just a snapshot of the mahi that has been done over the past quarter. It's my favourite slide because now we actually get to celebrate our people actually doing wonderful things. So what we've got here is, so one of our kaiwhakahaere is Tama. He's working with 4 mana whenua groups, ngā marakai o Maniapoto, Kahotea Marae, Toto Te Whenua and Te Wharekura o Maniapoto to provide capability uplift in freshwater management. And also acknowledging Lisa, who has been working with our uri in Auckland or Tamaki and o Tautahi, and Rohe Māori, that's you too, to provide some support on how to, you know, in the case of an emergency, if you need to, and I pray that we never have to provide resuscitation support.
Back to that tūturu. Kia ora tukutuku. Hey, for whoever's got their phones on, could you please make sure you've muted them? It's probably unacceptable. To be fair, the alarm that went off was a very important one for me. It actually reminds me to flip my TT bucket at home. I know that doesn't seem it, but have you ever had a rotten TT because you forgot to flip your bucket? I haven't, because I've got an alarm. Not that I'm trying to make up for it, but I really apologise, whānau. It's a bit of a rookie move, but hey, just trying to be transparent in my activities. Look, I can't say enough about the work that both Wayne and Tuku have been doing. I couldn't have asked for 2 better people to have led the mata of Te Nehenehenui. Wahikurangi and Ahuahu, they're out there having really hard conversations with people all around the motu, including our ministers, including our CEs, our GMs out there, and they really are holding their own. So a big mihi to you two for the mahi. And I did want to highlight that the kuratahi piece that's going on, whānau, what we're offering, and I know that there was a piece around there, we want everyone to sign up. There's 80 seats available in person, and there are some online, and we did say that if anybody does sign up and you're a registered member of the iwi, that we will provide a $100 grant for the kuratahi, and our kaumata will be able to do it for free. So please help yourselves, get in there if you're interested. That's the reo that helps us with our kaikaranga and our pai, and it's just a good piece there. So please, whānau, let us know, give us a call. We've got a new grants and distribution and tribal registration group, so they'll be busy as anyway. Right, speaking of busy as, it's really hard to kind of summarise what you've been up to, but I did want to introduce a couple of new people in there. So Jess, Paul, would you mind standing up? So this is our new GM of Operations and Comms. So Jess has come to us. I'll let you introduce yourself actually, Jess. There's a microphone somewhere.
O tēnā tātou, ko Jess Paul tōku ingoa. I'm from Kapatui Marae. Kia ora.
While you're there, Jess, why don't you hand it to one of your people down there, Kathy Taitoku, would love to introduce herself as well.
Kia ora whānau, ko Kathy Taitoku tōku ingoa no... Oh, hang on. Mō kau kohunui, napi napi, maniaroa, te keti, and kapituhi. And kahotea. Kia ora.
Just taking the time to have the people introduce themselves. We've also had a new senior financial accountant begin. We've got a new senior advisor who's come on board, Te Rauroha, but he's not here today, unfortunately. I'd love to introduce him. And we've got our project manager, Tania, who's come on board for our Hauora section, and then our planner lead. And that's Alethea, who's joined Tremaine, I was going to call her Chewy, Tremaine, with our settlement protection group, and does a lot of the planning management resource piece. These are all the different parts of the kind of mahi that we do that we need. So what we've got up here is photos. Now the reason I got these photos is we've got the JMA photo up here on the top. We're going to go back. The JMA photo up there, that's all of our varying council groups. Then we've got the people raising the flags. We've got a photo here when we're down with Te Pai Muri, doing some mahi on that space. We've got our RMA hui over here, this one here. We've got some mahi going down there in terms of some of the CAF hui, Orako event. We've got ā-Iwi at the Kawenata on the GAT, and we've got the Te Aroa Tūronga photo. I put all these photos up because actually everyone of my team is in the background somewhere. So they're the faces behind the places that we've had the opportunity this year. And instead of trying to tell you what we've been doing, I thought I'd show you the events. And I hope you all enjoyed them and they were like flawless and you just could show up, contribute to the iwi, have a great time and then go home. Because it was then the team that is sitting behind you that have been pulling it all together. And we have a strong contingent of wahine Maniapoto, and they seem to get the job done. I am looking for other tāne to keep me company because they can also be very mana wahine. It's awesome, and I celebrate you every day. but I have been told that they can be quite bullyish. But anyway, so what do we do to reward our kaimahi? The first thing we did is we had our reo te tari, and we'll continue to offer reo programs just for our kaimahi. That's where we have it within the tari. We just focus on our needs in terms of basic language or reo. We split ourselves into two groups last time, and we're going to run another one coming up. And the one down the bottom is the fishing trip. Don't worry, we stayed up in my house in Hauraki. We went out and we caught the fish and brought it back into the tari, into the rohe. And I'm pretty sure I had some backbones set aside for me, and someone took them. Like, I only eat the backbones, like that's the last part. And I filleted all the fish, and it all disappeared. So I just put that out there. I hope they were enjoyed and they didn't go into the landfill. But we got a question around last time around how do we look after our kaimahi. Look, we do our best. We're all part of that group. We have a genuine care and attention for each other. We hold each other to account, and we're always out there looking out for one another. And if you ever have any pātai, you must direct it all to me, and I'll work with my team to make that happen. Other than that, we appreciate servicing or being of service to our iwi. And if you ever have any pātai, please ask Zara. Well, she's down the back there. She'll take all the questions. Right, Zara? Right. So what I want to talk about is the Rangatahi project. We're just going to do a little bit of a highlight here. Then I'm going to ask our Rangatahi group to come up here. But, and this is a big up to the trustees, both the establishment and our new trustees who got behind this project. And what it was is we had 40 members of Rangatahi who volunteered to come and be in the project pilot. They stayed at Mangatoto, Mangapihi and Manioroa. And during that time, we had 3 different sections where they had the opportunity to learn about kotahitanga and connecting to our tribe and maniapototanga for the first hui. Then marae tikanga, haerenga to the wahi tapu. Those are over in the Reriahu space and being active and what steps have been taken to activating your maniapoto identity. And then in the final one at Manioroa, engaging in the tribe, the hui ato, the terms of reference that was designed and developed by them. And then the next steps was defined. It's been a really great experience, and I just want to thank Luke, who actually, we talked about this idea when I first met him, kind of put in the effort, started it up, and then to Kristen Putty, who got right behind it and drove this thing and made sure it happened, and to the Waihikurangi team that got behind supporting them. Just anyone who was involved, I don't want to leave you out. But what I do want to do now is put the mic down and allow our chairperson, who is the head of our Rangatahi Rōpu, to come up and talk to their group and then give your perspective. So Nadine, would you like to come up?
Kia ora tātou te whānau, ko te whakaaro tuatahi, e tautoko ana ngā mihi ko mihia I te ata nei. Nō reira, tēnā koe kia kai karakia, tēnā koe Doug o tō mihi ko mihia. I'm going to keep my kōrero short because I don't know about you, but my back's been pretty sore sitting down for too long. So if you do feel like you need to etu or move your arms around or get the blood flowing again, feel free to do that as I have my kōrero. Nō reira, ko wai tēnei, he uri tēnei no Ngāti Maniapoto me Waikato Huki. Ko Rākaunui me Mokuroa o ku marae. Nō reira, tēnā kōroa, kia kōroa from Rākaunui I te ata nei. Ko oirata tōku ingoa whānau, ko nei rina hau. He chair I naia nei o te rōpū rangatahi o Maniapoto. He chair hoki o te ngā manu takiata. Nō reira, kaorio e mau I te PowerPoint presentation, except for this one. So, kia kaha mō tō whakarongo mai as I kōrero awaha anake. Engari, the funny thing was that before this, I was like, I'm going to say all of these things, and now it's gone from my brain. But The main thing that I want to speak about today of Te Rōpū Rangatahi, the pilot project which started at the beginning of 2023, is that without this project, without this initiative by Te Nehenehenui, by all the kaimahi involved, Luke, Kristen, Ariahuia, and Sam and everyone else, I probably wouldn't have come to any of our hui ā-Iwi. So if you had come to the last hui ā-Iwi at Maniaroa, you would have noticed that there was quite a few rangatahi in the whare at the time. So that was our final wānanga at Maniaroa. And if it wasn't for this initiative, the Te Rōpū Rangatahi initiative, a lot of us probably wouldn't have even known what hui ā-Iwi was. And that's something that is not necessarily anyone's fault, it's just the way that it's been. Engari, going forward, what we're wanting to do as part of our positions of Ngā Manu Takiata, which is the essentially board of Te Rōpū Rangatahi. So that was the outcome from our rangatahi initiative, is to provide the ability for rangatahi of Maniapoto, one, to know who they are as Maniapoto. Nā te mea kaore au te puaki i te reo Māori, kaore au te puaki i te ao Māori, kaore au I mōhio au I tōku tuakiritanga, I tōku Maniapototanga, I tōku Māoritanga, I te puaki ana. So growing up, I knew nothing about what it meant to be Māori. If I'm being honest, I didn't want to be Māori growing up because it wasn't something that I wanted to be, because it wasn't embraced by who we were, who I was around, where I grew up. I grew up in Te Aroha, which is, primarily very Māori. Engari, I didn't feel like I wanted to be Māori. My dad, who is where my Māori side is from, I knew nothing because he didn't know anything. And part of this initiative is to connect our rangatahi, which is from 0 to 35, which is another great thing, because a lot of other, not just iwi, but initiatives, they cut off at 25. So I'm 30. So I was like, woo, I'm still counted as a rangatahi, so that's cool. Engari, growing up, not knowing who you are is really hard. And then to want to get back into it is also really hard when you don't know anyone. So this initiative was part of my journey of reconnecting back to who I am, reconnecting back to the connections that I didn't realise I had. And that's not just me personally, that's also the main whakaaro of everyone else in Te Rōpū Rangatahi, the pilot program. Nō reira, on here on the slide is our Ngā Manu Takiata board members. So we have myself as chair, Ariahuia, who is our deputy chair, Saltise Morrison is our secretary, Gavin Bar is our treasurer, and we also have Atareta, Shikoni, Mātai, Marcel, Miro, Tia and Zave, who are also part as board members as well. So from the initiative or the pilot program, there was around 50 who signed up, which is amazing. We had 3 wānanga. Not everyone could make each wānanga, but those who could, it was like a stepping stone within our tuakiritanga, our maniapototanga. And the main thing out of this is that we all know who we are now. We may not know our whole tuakiritanga, because, do you ever really know? But it's a starting point. It was a starting point for all of us. Nō reira, I want to give a huge mihi to not just Te Nehenehenui as the entity, but to each individual person who's had something to do with it, as well as each each whānau member of every single marae that we've gone to at Manga Tuatua, Manga Pēhi, and Maniaroa, because without our people, we wouldn't know who our people are. Nō reira, the main thing for me that I wanted to share today was that one day we will be sitting where you are. One day, and like that's scary to think about, so I don't really personally think about it too much because it's like, you know, it's a scary thing. But at the same time, it's the reality. One day we will be where you are, and speaking on behalf of those of ngā manu takiata is that we hope to do a good job by whatever it is that we're being set out to do. Nō reira, on that note, I am excited to share that we will be continuing this kaupapa of Te Rōpū Rangatahi, and more details will be sent out. So if you are watching online, and if you were to take a look around the room right now, not many rangatahi in the room. Engari, hopefully by this program we can bring more rangatahi to hui ā-Iwi, hui ā-Tau, even hui ā-Mutu if we have more of those. But that's the purpose of Te Rōpū Rangatahi, is to bring our rangatahi, not necessarily bring them back home to live, but bring them back so that they can understand who they are, so that when they are out down the way, Pōneke or Tautahi, Ahitereiria, wherever else in Te Ao, that they know that deep down they are maniapoto, and that they are going to speak about what it means to be maniapoto, and that they're proud to be maniapoto. Nō reira, ko motu tāku kōrero. I will ask Aria Hoia and Tyler, whoever wants to come up next, to speak about their experience. Nō reira, te whānau, tēnā koutou, tēnā rā tātou katoa.
So anyway, whānau, that is the rangatahi program. Just as an FYI, a couple of parts I come through, how do we get the big cities involved? Actually, we had about a good 65-35 split between within the rohe, which was about the 35, and outside of the rohe of Maniapoto. So we had whānau from Auckland, we had whānau from Wellington. We actually had a person who would fly back from Australia to participate, who's now moved home since then and gotten a job back here and has really gone deep into her focus around being here. We had Rotorua, not that that's not a big city, but a holler out to Tyler, who's part of the rangatahi program as well as an intern trustee. So never fear, there is opportunity for all. And we are running the program again, so that'll come out for the whānau to know about. And the whole purpose is that it's that succession, it's the pipeline, it's making sure that the governance piece is learned at all varying levels, and also that the voice of the rangatahi rōpū can come through as part of the advisory groups that support Te Nehenehenui and the mahi that we're doing. So, one last final big mihi to our rangatahi group who have now formed their own board, and they're now working on activities to drive focus to bring rangatahi back together, back into the rohe, and to make what those that live, the ahika that live within the rohe o Maniapoto, so they can get a taste of what it's like to be home all the time, and to start that ember. So maybe that they can one day have that aspiration to move back, or at least to come back on a regular basis. One of the comments that was made to me by one of the rangatahi was that they can walk on their marae without being whakamā. And that's a really good thing, because you underestimate how some of our younger whānau don't want to come home, not because they can't, it's just they don't know how. They don't have to connect back in. So these opportunities hopefully will just flourish and continue to bloom. So big thanks there. And to, once again, Aria Huia, she's been frequently focused here, but Deputy Chair, but also involved significantly with the setup and the driving of this as well. So big thank you to you as well, Aria Huia. Anyway, we're going to move on to the last section. And just for the rangatahi out there getting sore backs, that's some of the thing our Pākeke can teach you is how to sit for long periods of time. Mastered that art myself. I can sit quite comfortably. No back problems. It's when I stand up is the problem. So it's about not moving. contrary to what you believe. So we just wanted to give a quick screen up here. We've got 30,622 number of registered members now. We've managed to distribute about 800,000. We're still going to keep pushing that to go. We're getting better at it. Whānau are getting better at signing up. We've had so many applications. Our maraes have been applying. Our kaumātua have been applying. We've been setting up new opportunities to gain access to cultural grants, education grants. We've even got a non-charitable grant set up now to support our whānau that don't live within Aotearoa, so that if you're outside, we can make contribution to education components outside of the area. So all of these things have been going really well, and it's just a big thanks to the team. You get quite a few applications, and I'd hate to fathom how many, but as you can see, just shy of 2,000 applications have been filed and sent through, which we've managed to turn around. And it's quite a struggle at times because we're trying to keep everything moving, but as we've got the expertise coming on now, we're getting sharper, quicker, faster, and with the new update to our tribal reg, that'll give us the ability to start processing grants even quicker. With more accurate information. Because the biggest thing about grants whānau is when you sign them up, we've got to confirm bank accounts, we've got to confirm your ā-Iwi membership, and when we've got that whole piece within one system, we'll get a grant and it'll come with your membership number on it. It'll come, you can put your bank details in it, we'll be able to slip that all through to the finance team, we'll be able to get those payments out straight away. So it's exciting times, but with that, I think we've managed to significantly talk through the last 3 months of our mahi. And hopefully you're all ready for a kai, and we'll just skip the questions part, shall we? But anyway, if you've got pātai for myself or for Tuku or for Bully, please, team, come on back up just in case we get any fired through. So any pātai whānau? Oh, whaia muiora.
I'd just like to thank the youth for speaking today. We don't actually have anything to do with them because they don't come back, but if they would come back more often, or even communication like that, I've never seen it, like heard it from them. Never seen or heard that sort of kōrero before. We don't know it. I don't know why. It's because they're either away or maybe we're just hard to communicate with. I don't know what it is, but thank you very much for that kōrero. It really encourages us to do a lot more for our younger ones away from here, and to encourage them to come back. And that's for us in the rohe to do. Kia ora.
Kia ora tātou, Dawn Magnet, tēnei tuataki mihi kia koutou mō tēnei presentation I tēnei wā, tēnā rawe tēnā. I've got several pātai and I thought I'd just give them all out.
Fire in the hole.
If that's okay. I've got some from the whare, whare te hauauru ki uta. Uncle Pat, I'll put his apologies in. He's at another hui today. He was trying to get here. Engari, the first one is acknowledge the recent capacity building RMA training. With that said, the whare hauauru would like, and how Te Nehenehenui was able to financially support those who were doing that training, so thank you for that. Would like Te Hauauru would like the board to consider continuation of this and to be made available for one person for all our marae to attend. So, he tōna tēnā.
Just before you carry on, can we just take a note of that pātai, please, so I can make sure it goes on our list?
Ka pai. Previously, MMTV and then the interim TNN board had agreed to develop a collective marae insurance package. We therefore like to revisit that, please, and especially at the moment because the insurances are getting extremely high and it's putting a lot of pressure on our marae. So if that's a consideration for the very near future, we would appreciate.
Just so whānau know, we are working on that program, and I should have an announcement in September for the marae that sit within the trust deed.
Ka pai, ka pai. We also would like to seek consideration for TNN to add to the ā-Iwi agenda an opportunity to have whare present on something exciting that's happening in the area. It's not a must, but you know, if there's something that's exciting happening in their area that they could share with the rest of our people, that would be awesome. Ka pai.
Thank you.
With regards to communication, in particular updating of the information, we know that our kaumātua are not IT savvy and would really like
our communication team to reach out to those providers that look after our kaumātua to help in that process, because they sit with our people, with our kaumātua, and walk them through that process as opposed to just leaving it for the IT. Pai tēnā?
Ka pai.
Sorry.
That one in particular is quite a good one, but I'll just highlight that we have about 2,800, I think, people that were registered as kaumātua, and that's just the registered members. Of that, we suspect there's probably another 15,000 members that are registered. Of that is another 1,500. And the challenge for us is to make sure that we can create systems that they can gain access to, but also that we help the ones without the rohe. So we've got 65% of our whānau that live between Hamilton and the Auckland region. How do we gain access to them and make that technology available? So it is definitely there, Dawn, and we definitely want to make a play for that space. So that'll be a focus for our comms GM.
Yeah, thank you, and I respect that, and I know you'll get that job done. The other is to do with the rangatahi kōrero. Te whare hau ā-Iwi have been running a series of wānanga. It came out of a strategic wānanga that we held to look at what we wanted to focus on. And one of the main things was around tuakiritanga. And as a result of that, we've been holding wānanga within our marae to get to know each other and understand how we all fit. Just recently, over the last couple of months, an example of how good that works, Pohatuiri and Tukikapu have been doing monthly wānanga, and it's just changed slightly in the last 12 months, in the last couple of months, where we have pakeke 1 month and we have rangatahi the following month. The majority of people that are attending are people outside of our rohe.
Nice.
I'm just going to say that. So this is about building our succession for our marae and looking at our pai and our kaikaranga to ensure sustainability for our marae. So kia ora. I'd like that group to lean in and do collaboration with our rangatahi.
Well, this is where I get to throw the raka. Well, we'll let you catch up with Nadine during our kai hakari, shall we? Ka pai. Any pātai online? No, we're good? Any other pātai whānau? Ronnie? You're not going to ask me a question about something you know the answer to, Ronnie?
If this could be, so tonight's presentation, if that could be given out to, well, I'll speak on behalf of our whare, so that it can be shared with our marae that are not here. So Hauauru has got 7 marae, and they're not all here. If we can share that information tonight, because not everyone's on Facebook as well, Sam. So that's just, if we can have that. Kia ora.
We usually will make this available on YouTube as well, and we'll have our presentation brought down to a PDF and sent out. Good idea, though. Thanks, Ronnie. Kia ora. All right. Well,
just a little bit about, we've got the kuratahi, but, just in general, well, looking towards the hui tau, sort of the program maybe, or what's the going forward?
Yep. It's good pātai, matua. So we've just revitalised, or are in the process of revitalising, one of the reo programs that were being. There were 2 actually that we're going to combine back together under one kaupapa for reo within the rohe, but also available online to whānau that wish to try to get part and parcel of that. But I'm going to leave that with Waihukurangi to deliver that awesome news. So if you want to handle that one. Hey, no mai hara mai.
Kia ora, Uncle. So I just want to say, so Waihukurangi at the moment is currently reviewing Waikahika, which is our education strategy, and next year Te Rautakere o Maniapoto is also up for review. So what we are considering is reviewing them at the same time because they go hand in hand. So when we think about mātauranga, there's a curriculum aspect in education, but then there's also mātauranga Maniapoto and Taonga Tukuiho, and our reo is absolutely crucial for the delivery and the considerations of those things. So just wanted to add that, that it'll go hand in hand with our education strategy.
Okay. Ka pai whānau? No more pātai? Oh, well, at that point, I'd like to thank everyone who participated online. Tēnei te mihi ki a koe te whānau marongi te hui topa. Ka hara mai mātou ki te wharekai nai nei, engari aroha mai, haere rātou ki te... Oh, Rosemary. Right. Long pātai. And we will make sure that, just so everyone's aware, there's questions coming in just around what Te Nehenehenui is doing regarding some of the submissions that are going through to the Crown. We are taking active positions on all things, and all we really want the iwi to know is that we stand strongly to defend and protect the settlement from 2012 for the Waipa, as well as 2022, which is the Maniapoto bill that's been settled. All parts and parcels of that we've made clear in our relationship with the Crown that when challenged, we will make sure that we defend that vigorously, and that we are currently making submissions for various kaupapa that have come up and arisen in the past 3 months. So,
I've got a question on that, because if we're having... If the iwi say we're having to defend the settlement, it's a lost opportunity in terms of deriving value from the relationship agreements. I have a problem with that, because we have to take the Crown to task. And there are other iwi more gripped up than us that are going to court to defend their settlement interests. We're too early in the journey to be able to foot a legal bill to defend the settlement. So I just think we need to have some political strategy here to ensure that our 5-year plan is aligned to where the government's objectives are, where the gaps are. The conversation around our relationship agreements need to be better articulated at this critical juncture. Because I think, and if that's not what you meant in terms of defending the settlement, okay. But I know that when other iwi are talking about defending the settlement, it has led to legal action. And we would need to be very clear about how much we'd be stumping up to defend something that the Crown has an absolute obligation to abide by.
Yeah, and it's a good question. Sorry, and I didn't mean to make that inference. What I was referring to is we currently haven't had any challenges to our settlements. We have made sure to, as you know, representing the iwi, to ensure that we keep a very close eye on that. Our relationship agreements have been positive in the direction of travel with this current Crown, as well as the previous Crown relationships we had with the previous government. And for Maniapoto, we are in a good space in terms of making our way towards the first 5 years of the punga phase. So to your point, exactly where we're at, we're focused on the relationship agreements, the gaps that sit currently between where we want to go with the kawarukuro and what those relationship agreements can bring us to. So I appreciate the challenge there, Nanaya, and absolutely accurate in what you said. But rest assured, whānau, we are in a good position, and we are making sure that we keep those. We're just letting you know we keep a watchful eye, but our current relationships with the Crown have been very positive in that current offset. So, kia ora. Oh, kia ora matua, John.
Yeah, I think in terms of the concerns, I think the one thing that I've come to notice is that the party in government gets all the, I suppose, the thrust of any of our claims. I just wondered whether we were a little bit short in not being taking into account where the opposition sat, because in 2 cases now I've noticed when we settled the rivers, we got a settlement that was getting close to Waikato one, where there was an amount set aside for the Waikato River. When it comes to the Waipa, we negotiated a very similar amount, but when it wasn't quite in place when the change of government came about, and we were found to be still negotiation,
still negotiating, whereas we had a government that was willing in the first place. The next government wasn't. Now again, we've struck a similar spot here, where the Kawhia Harbour, when we negotiated with the national government, they were a willing side to negotiate both. But we now, they've changed their mind, being in opposition for such a long time. Whereas the Labour Party came in and virtually, supported us in how, and Nanaia was that person that negotiated that for us. So today we're sort of stuck at a point where the present government doesn't want to negotiate what we were considering for us to move into when our comprehensive was over with alongside Tainui. So that's just something I think it's a good idea to tell our people that the government is stalling it at the moment.
Yeah. Thank you, Matua. I guess for those that aren't aware, after the 22 settlement, there was a component left on the side, which was the kawhi negotiations, which is still under the process. So we won't get too far into the details just because it is currently being discussed. And Nanaia, if you've got any part-time?
No, I haven't got it's not really a part-time to you in particular, but if I pick up John's direction of travel, and it's probably not appropriate for this forum, but we do need a political strategy. And so there has to be some cohesion around the Te Nehenehenui and its entities as a whole around these types of issues, because you've got the outstanding kawhia claim, you've got the potential under the current settings to confirm what is able to be achieved under the current relationship agreements, identify where the gaps are, but actually in doing so figure out what the strategy is there. And more importantly, the hue of this government is looking for, I think, investments at a regional level to be able to contribute to their bigger objectives. And we just need one strategy to be able to deal with that. It's not a question for you, Sam, it's probably more appropriately directed to Peter and Te Nehenehenui as a whole. And I think that can be taken offline, but as long as there's confidence amongst the iwi that that's the kind of thing we're going to try and grapple with to give greater clarity by the time the hui ātou comes along, I think that's going to be a healthy thing.
Ka pai. Well, if there's no need to respond, then I shall leave that rākau there. Whānau, does anyone else have any other pātai? Ka pai. Looks like we're getting the time to kai, so ka whiu te taraki ki a koe pā, me te whakakapi tā tātou hui. Thank you very much for your participation, everyone, and for those online. And yes, kia ora.
Amen.
te atua nei te ringa taitani. Wai o tapu ake, ake, ake.
Ka la.